Okay, welcome to this build video for the Outrage Velocity 50. We're starting off with the first step in the manual, which is the build of the main rotor hub, and it's installing the flybar carrier into the rotor hub. And the way this goes is like that, with the flat to the right of the hub itself. And then one of these screws goes in this hole here in order to secure it in place, and then these double balls here go into one of the positions here depending on how you want your machine set up, and in the manual there is some guidance on what holes to use on page 6, and I'm actually going to go for fast response on mine, so I'm probably going to go on the inside hole here. But I might go in the middle hole, but we'll see in a moment. I'll have a look at the head settings and decide what's going to be best for the type of response I'd like. Okay, so you can see I've actually gone for the middle hole here. I'm going to use intermediate settings for my machine rather than advanced settings. I did use advanced settings on my Outrage 550 when I originally built it, and have since calmed it down a little. So for the Velocity 50, I'm going to stick with intermediate settings and see if they're okay, and if not, then I'll speed it up. But initially I'm going to go with intermediate settings. You can see here we've got the screw in each side, and obviously you can't put these on until you've put these screws in, so otherwise it won't go through the middle there, because these will be in the way. So anyway, that's the first part of the build done. So for the next bit we can move on to the flybar carrier and inserting the flybar through the seesaw. Okay, so here we have the second build step, which is the flybar cage, and in order to make that up, you've got a couple of grub screws which go in this hole in the top of the cage and secure the flybar in place. These are obviously the lengths that go either side of these, so doing a very quick bit of dry installation, you effectively end up with that sort of arrangement with the flybar going through the middle there, and then we need to put the ball links here onto the rods either end and connect them into the middle here before we tighten this whole thing up. And then these screws bolt through here to hold it all together. And there are some lengths in the manual for how long the rod needs to be once you've got the ball links on there. So I'm going to go ahead and make that part up. Okay, so here we have the job partially done. I've inserted the grub screw in here, but not put any Loctite on it yet because I haven't got the actual flybar itself in there yet. I've made up these linkages, and now this gap in the middle here is 1.5 millimeters according to the manual. I have Loctited these screws here, and now it's a case of clipping these onto the balls in the middle and then putting the other end on and then inserting the flybar through. So I'll now go ahead and do that, and you can see the result. Okay, and there we have the flybar cage fully assembled. I've Loctited these grub screws now, and the whole thing's together. I've also made sure that the distance here from here to the end is exactly the same this side as it is on the other side, so the rotor head is effectively in balance for when I put the paddles on. So that's that part of the build step completed. And we can now move on to the swash plate and the washout base and washout arms. Okay, so here we have the swash plate. This is different to the Outrage 550 swash plate in that it's a double bearinged swash plate. So there's no movement in this at all. It really is a solid no slop swash plate. And what we'll do in this build step is put all the various balls into their respective positions on the swash plate, Loctite them all up, and then we can get on and do the same kind of thing with the washout base. So I'll put all the balls on the swash plate and you can see what that looks like. Okay, so now we have the completed swash plate. You can see these balls here, they're on the they're kind of the outer hole rather than this one here, and the same this side for your 120 degree. These holes here are for 140 degree configuration, and you need a different set of linkages for this, which stand the balls away from the swash plate a bit more, but it also needs some change to the bell cranks to make it work as well. So the kit is supplied as 120 degrees, so you go in these outside holes, and then of course you've got your elevator ball link or ball on the back there, and just ordinary balls around the middle, and all these are Loctited in place. Okay, so that's the swash plate. Next thing is the washout base and arms. Okay, so here we have the parts for the next build step. Effectively these big screws go into that hole there, and you've also got these little screws here, which are for putting the balls onto the washout arms themselves, and you've got dual positions on the washout arm for the balls there. And again, you need to follow the settings on page 6 for where you place the ball. I'll be following intermediate settings, so you'll see exactly where the ball goes for the intermediate settings when I put that together. So I'll go ahead and start assembling this, and you can see what that looks like. Okay, and there we have the washout base assembled. You can see that the ball is in the outermost hole here on the link for the intermediate settings. Well, you can see it there we go. So you can see both of the balls there in their outer holes, and you can see how the arms are installed onto the base itself. You've got the protruding piece here away from the base, and the flat of the arm against the washout base, and that's that part assembled and done. So the next thing is to install the swash plate and washout arms, and the what we built of the rotor head so far onto the main shaft. So that's the next build step. Okay, so here we have the main shaft. When you look at the main shaft, you'll see that there's a single hole one end and a double hole the other. The single hole end of the shaft that goes up into the head block, and then your main gear sits down this end. So that's just for clarification. So I'll now install the main shaft into the head with the swash plate and the washout arms. Okay, I've just been snapping the various links together and noticed that the washout base, although the plastic arms here are in place, they're not actually secured, and in the packet there were 4 little screws, these ones here, which I've omitted to install. So these actually need to go either side, one in that side and one in, I can't really see it if I do it like that, one in this side there, and one in the other side in there, to hold that plastic arm onto the metal mixer arm there. So those need to go in. Also, while I was snapping the links onto the balls here, they're actually extremely tight, very like they are on the Outrage 550, and I know from experience that it's a very bad idea to actually ream these links to size, because you'll find that they'll go very, very sloppy once they're worn in. So just put them on there tight, run them tight, and then after 2 or 3 flights you'll find that they loosen up on their own. But initially they are very, very stiff, so just something to be aware of. So I'll go ahead and install these 4 screws, 2 for this side and 2 for the other side here, and then that's the swash plate and the washout base installed. Okay, just a quick update with regard to fitting the head block onto the shaft. You should find in the same packet as the head block there is a screw which has just got a little bit of thread on the end, and then a non-threaded part, so effectively a shanked bolt like this, and that keeps it strong. If it was threaded all the way along, you can get a break in the Jesus bolt. So this is your screw for holding the head block on, and it comes with a nylock nut for securing it all in place. So I should put that in, put the locking collar on, and then you can have a look at the whole thing assembled. Okay, so here we have the fully assembled head so far. You can see I put the locking collar on there, but just loosely. I haven't put any Loctite on the grub screw in here. It's just in there just to hold it in place so the swash plate can't go too low on the shaft. I've now got the screws installed either side of the downlink to the swash plate, which I missed out in the previous build step, so they're in and Loctited. So effectively that's now working as it should. So all still feels very stiff because the ball links are still very stiff, and of course we've got the Jesus bolt in there with the nylock nut on the end, and you can see two holes at the bottom here where the main gear are going to go. So that's the head assembled so far. The next step is the blade grips and the feathering spindle and all that stuff, so we'll get onto that next.